Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about a piecewise function. What a piecewise function means is a function where depending on the x values, you choose one of two or three or even more different conditions and based on a different line or different type of function. So let's look at an example. So we're going to look at f of x equals x plus 3 for x less than 0 and x squared for x greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so in this case what happens is when you choose x values that are less than 0, you're going to actually form this equation. For x less than 0, your equation you're going to use is y equals x plus 3. Okay? When x is greater than or equal to 0, you're going to use this function, y equals x squared. Now, if you remember correctly, y equals x plus 3, okay, this function right here, y equals x plus 3 is a line. Y equals x squared is a parabola. So what's going to happen is for part of our graph, we're going to have a line. For part of our graph, we're going to have a parabola. And you can try to do this using your graphing calculator. There's instructions online on how to do it. But if you were just going to do a simple graph and see how it looks, the best way to do it is to set up an XY chart and plot some points. So I'm going to set up an XY chart here, okay? Two of them. I'm going to set up one for the case when I have x values less than 0, okay? But I'm also going to include 0 because I want to see where this function ends, where this line ends when it hits 0. We'll do something special at that case, but values that are negative 0.9, or I'm sorry, negative 0.00001. Those points are still involved in this function, so I'm going to get as close to it as possible. So I'm going to plot, if I want x values less than 0, I'm going to plot negative 2, negative 1, and 0. Okay, and then I'll just remember that this 0 value is really important, and I have to do something special at that case. And then for y equals x squared, I'm looking at x values greater than or equal to 0. So I'm going to look at x values of 0, 1, and 2. Remember, keep these numbers simple. You want to make it easy on yourself when you're plotting them in, and then also when you're plugging them into the equation, and also when you're plotting them on the graph. So what I do is I go to the function y equals x plus 3, and I put in negative 2. Well, when I put in negative 2, what I'm going to get as a result is 1. When I put in negative 1, I'm going to get a result of 2. And when I put in 0, I'm going to get a result of 3. Okay, so that part is pretty easy. Now when I plug in 0 into y equals x squared, what I'm going to get is 0. 1 squared is 1, and 2 squared is 4. So let me first plot these points and then see what happens. So I'm going to plot negative 2, 1, negative 2, 1. Okay, that's right there. I'm going to plot negative 1, 2, and I'm going to plot 0, 3. Now, I'm going to plot 0, 3, but we'll come back to what I have to do with that. Now, since this is a line and all x values less than 0 form on this line, I know that I can go ahead and draw this part of the line, because I know what I would do if I went to negative 3, it would be here, and negative 4, it would be here. Based on what I know about lines. So I can just draw this line down and out, because I know it's just going to extend that way forever. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to use the y equals x squared function. And when I plot this, I'm going to get 0, 1, 1, 2, 4. Okay. And what I know about parabolas is they're curved and they go up really, really fast. So for this part of it, the function is going to be curved and go up like this. Okay, I've pretty much completed this piecewise function and graphed it. There is one thing that I have to consider, and that is what happened at 0. And you remember with this function, it included 0. So that means that for my parabola at 0, 0, that is a true point. So I can dot that a little bit more. Sometimes people fill that in a little bit more and make it a little detailed so you know. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my eraser tool, and I'm going to kind of erase here. And because what's happening is at x equals 0, I'm not on the line anymore. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw an open circle and then bring it like this.